Hello and welcome. My name is Brooke Brings Three White Horses, and I'm a senior at University of Sioux Falls, where I'm pursuing a double major in art and education. The name of my art series is The Juncture of Darkness versus Life. I'm excited to present my artwork to you that I've been creating through the last 3 years at USF. I hope that you'll see my love and passion thrive throughout my artwork. I find inspiration in still life paintings because of the emotion I could portray. My love for antique objects is heavily apparent in my still lifes, along with a twist of a natural instinctive state of mind. When the viewer looks at my artwork, I want emotions to overwhelm their senses. Some artists like to make viewers think. I prefer to make mine feel. Art is my outlet from all the stress and chaos in this world throws at me. When my thoughts become dark, I work to express them through my mixed media series. I want the viewer to get a sense of anxiety, wonder, and even awe when looking at my artwork. The plate etchings I created were inspired by Jacob Pucher's prints because of the emotions that are captured within them, and because this method gives such rich hues of grays and blacks. The dark values of the mezzotint process also helps give certain emotion qualities to my work. The absence of color represents the feeling I get when emotions run on the gray, dreary side. My world seems to lack color when I'm depressed. A mezzotint emerges from the darkness as you strip away to the light. I like to imagine my thoughts emerging from the darkness to light with every burnishing move I make. Each piece is expressing my emotions with images that can relate to subject matter. I have objects placed specifically to make an interesting composition. My portrayal of a vintage camera, perfume bottle, and other antique accessories brings everyday objects deeper meaning. My mixed media art series consists of antique items placed within a still life setting. Those antique objects were selected and placed with the Baroque style in mind. Even the frames I chose to enwrap these artworks were meant to display the elegant flair of the Baroque era. The illustrations that Baroque painter Artisma Gentileschi created were very dark in emotion, as she was a pioneer in the art world for women. In regards to my largest piece in this series, I displayed a hint of Baroque style and was inspired by Gentileschi. Still lifes can seemingly be plain, inanimate subject matter, but I want the items I use to help tell a story. I drew the inspiration to use skulls in my artwork from Peter Collage and his Vanitas still lives. A Vanitas depicts objects in stunning detail with the symbolism of death and time. This series of artwork also portrays the concept of time and the image of motion and time. This illustration can be seen in my still life photos and mixed media. The skull and clock, the pocket watch and different jewelry pieces, the tea and fruits, as well as rust and vibrant golds all have unique contrast. Depression and anxiety combined compares to the same interest battles depicted in my art pieces. It is important to me to create those unique circumstances that emotionally emerge from the viewer in the balance between the color of life and the darkness of mental illness. This is my artwork as a whole. There's 11 pieces included in this series, and they are laid out in the way I would have had them up on a gallery wall. I felt this is very important to create this to give a better understanding of the location of each individual piece and to show you the frames that I've chose in action. The first artwork I'll be talking about is the one in the center. As you can see, surrounded by the others, this is the only color. The reason why I put this one in the middle is because it was my main focus and my inspiration for my other art pieces. When Time Stood Still. This acrylic painting is on a 4-foot by 5-foot stretch canvas. Each item you see, I have personally handpicked myself for certain reasons, but a lot of them is to give a sense of beauty and color and life. This is the only one I painted in color or created in color because I wanted that drastic kind of feeling from this one in the center is life, is good, is colorful, and all the other artworks that I have in this series is dark and like a gray scale. So I wanted that contrast and to show that an emotion of everything around us is dark, but we can still be colorful. On the right hand side, you'll see quite a few more objects that I chose and placed within the composition to paint. Some glassware, some more pearls on top of like a jewelry chest, and you'll see the teacup and the teapot. They kind of represent tea time. I thought that was kind of clever. You'll see the candle, and I made it where the candle is very textured and it gives it that waxy kind of melted look. In a lot of Vanitas still life paintings, you'll see candles that are no longer lit to represent the time like slipping away or time is extinguished. I thought that was a really good, symbolic way. So that's what I wanted to do in mine, is even though this one's very colorful and beautiful, I just really liked that one little detail to represent life is slipping away. This is in the painting on the bottom right hand corner. You see the lace over here continue into here. I wanted to show you this corner up close because of the mirror. I chose not to do the reflection because to have a symbolic like look away, don't want to face the truth, don't want to look yourself in the eyes or in the mirror. Even though you're getting all dolled up and you feel pretty, you still want to look away. Just something really simplistic, a single move to not have the reflection outwards, but to have it backwards. Just another symbolic view I wanted to portray. Here's an up-close look at the numbers that I glued onto the clock. I just really like the shadows it gives. And it's just something really small, but creating unity. I used the rest of the clock that the numbers were from in another piece. So you'll see a lot of the items within this painting elsewhere. You'll see other little pieces or, just different concepts taken from the centerpiece into the other artwork. Alright, next we'll be talking about this art piece. Life is Slipping Through the Crack. This is an acrylic on canvas, 18 by 24 inches. The skull and hourglass are both ways to kind of tell time. Where in hourglass, the sand slips through this tiny piece in between glass and falls to the bottom, slowly showing you each piece of sand representing a moment in time. When thinking about death, I think of skulls. And when it comes to Vanitas paintings, such as Peter Klaus's, he had skulls often in them. And those skulls were to represent death or death is coming soon. I chose to put the skull on the top portion of the hourglass to give a symbolic representation of life slowly dissolving away. As the sand goes to the bottom, the skull will get closer and closer to the end, where each moment is precious. All right, so I'm going to go on to the next piece. This is my last painting that I have in this series. It's Take Me With You. This is also 18 by 24 inches, and what we have here is acrylic, plaster, and plastic on canvas. This is supposed to be a large pocket watch. I used another part of the old clock that I tore apart and used it for the centerpiece with all the gears. I hand painted the gears in the centerpiece, and this right here was the outside rim of the old clock. I took plaster wrap and wrapped from here all the way around to the backside of the canvas. So this whole surface now is all plaster. I did use plaster wrap, and then I used plaster of Paris, which is liquid plaster, and I filled in all the gaps and try to give it as much of a smooth surface as possible. I wanted to use gold because I used gold throughout most of my pieces, little here and there, to give more of like that antique feel. Here's an up close photo of the inside. Yep, these are the ones that I painted and the part of the old clock. Here's another view of the canvas as a whole, and to show you the natural highlights and shadows it creates and how far it protrudes from the background. I absolutely love the way that these highlights from the gold and the shadows that are created in here from the different levels of the artwork. Next piece, we're going to go on to a different medium, a call from the past. This is an 11 by 14 photo within the frame and matted. This is just the photo by itself. I wanted to be able to have it as large as possible. So the background for my still life photography, I picked out all the items, all the different antique pieces, and put them in a composition the way I felt best fit. Just as I did with my big piece, where I created a composition with antique pieces and I painted, I actually did a couple of different setups for my still lifes to take photos of. So this is one of my favorites. It has an old rotary phone, some more pearls, so you're getting kind of a sense of unity within my artwork. You can kind of see some familiar things such as the chest or the jewelry thing, the pearls, another teacup, and a different perfume bottle. Vanitas still life paintings have still really helped influence me even in different mediums such as photography. And I've just really enjoyed creating and picking out each individual item. I go to like Goodwill and different antique shops, and just finding each one of these pieces along the way has been an artwork of itself. Alright, so the next piece we'll be looking at is this one. It's a photograph called Flashback, in its original frame. I loved the contrast of the white with a little bit of gold and the dark hues of this photograph. It's 11 by 14. Here's just the photo by itself. When it comes to photography, I always like to think of it as every photo is like capturing a moment in time. And I just thought it was a great concept to bring in when I'm thinking all about time and the ways you can show it and the ways you can reveal or capture or tell time. I got these two at separate different places, but finding them and putting them together was really fun. You buy one piece and then you're at another place, and then I saw this piece and I was like, those will go great together. I have below all of it is this lace piece. It's the same lace that I used on the main big 4-foot by 5-foot painting I created. I placed this vase behind here just to give a little bit of break up from the background, and I loved the highlights that it created because it's a really curvy glass. And that's like just another thing when looking throughout my art pieces, you see a lot of glass and a lot of transparency.